Well, hello everyone, and welcome back once again to Crystalline. Now, we were about to get into a ruckus the last game, so let's just jump right on in. Zack pauses and sizes up the guards. Should we use the element of surprise for 2 quick sneak attacks, or should we talk our way in? Yeah, let's just beat the crap out of them, right guys? I doubt they'll just let us waltz in to see the mayor. Zack nods and readies his discharger.
Agreed.
Yeah.
What are you guys planning?
We'll knock them out and make our way in. Zack blinks, then fiddles with his discharger.
Right. Just knock them out.
Leanna looks at Zack.
I don't agree with this decision. We don't know for sure these guards are bad.
Oh, Zack's going to kill them. Oh, that's why he's being all weird. Okay. Fine. She does have a point. We might be jumping to conclusions. Maybe we should try talking with them first?
I doubt that would work.
It doesn't hurt to try.
I mean, it could. It very much could, but... Zack frowns, but after some thought, he nods.
We'll try that first. If that fails, we go to Plan B.
I mean, we won't have the element of surprise for Plan B anymore after that point, but you know what? Plan B? Zack has already moved toward the guards and doesn't hear my question. I face Leanna. Do you know what his Plan B is? She shakes her head. Guys, Plan B is how he makes sure not to have any children. Come on.
Let's just hope it doesn't resort to that.
Yes. We catch up to Zack. No one ever wants to have to use Plan B. That means the first birth control failed.
Halt! What is your business here?
We're here to see the mayor.
Does he expect your audience?
Zack shaketh his head.
No. But I need to speak with him about this latest tax hike.
The tax hike?
The guards glance at each other and lower their weapons slightly. It almost seems as if they disapprove of the taxes too.
You guys don't seem too happy with the taxes either.
One of the guards hesitates, then nods.
My sister runs the bakery in town, and the taxes have been hurting her business.
Then why haven't you done anything about it?
We tried, as have some of the other guards. When we protested, the treasurer recommended the mayor hire real guards.
Wow. He glowers as he mentions the treasurer.
Treasurer?
Yeah, things have gotten really strange ever since he came to town. Suddenly the mayor is passing crazy rules he never would have passed before.
The other guard elbows his comrade.
Quiet down. Do you want one of his lackeys to hear?
The first guard frowns and falls silent. Leanna raises a hand to her chin in thought.
This treasurer sounds really suspicious.
No! The guard motions to her manipulator.
Wait, you're a mage knight?
Leanna blinks.
Yes, that's correct.
Can you scan the treasurer for magic use? I swear, he's doing...
Huh?
Not your crazy theories again. They already have a court mage to see to that.
Yes, a court mage who was assigned by the treasurer.
The second guard frowns but doesn't reply.
If we let you through, will you just scan around and see if you notice anything?
Leanna nods.
Yes, I'll do what I can.
Just be careful. Some of the treasurer's hired guards may not be so fond of you poking around.
Both guards step to the side.
On your way.
Let's go.
Zack leads the way again. We follow behind as Leanna fiddles with her manipulator. As we progress through the mansion, we pass unnoticed by the clerks and guards milling about. They must assume we have a reason to be here if we got through the front door. Leanna stares intently at her manipulator, her brow furrowed in confusion.
This doesn't make any sense.
What is it?
The readings, they're so erratic. It's almost like there's... but there can't be.
There's what?
Shadow magic.
Zack looks sharply at Leanna.
Shadow magic.
She reluctantly nods. Zack sets his jaw and tightens the grip on his dischargers. So, shadow magic. Obviously, I already know this, but just to confirm that we're all on the same page here, does someone mind telling me, what that is?
It's forbidden magic.
Of course, of course. She's entirely focused on her manipulator.
It's coming from...
She jogs down a hallway and stops in front of mahogany double doors.
Behind there.
Suddenly, a voice calls out from behind us.
It's you!
Standing down the hall is the same guard from the shop.
How did you get in here? Intruders!
All eyes fall on us as he begins yelling. The guards who previously ignored us now draw their weapons as they close in. Zack pulls out his dischargers.
You go deal with whatever that is. I'll keep them busy here.
Zack kicks down one of the tables and drops behind it for cover.
Go! Now!
As he raises his guns, purple energy swirls to life. He rains a hail of energy bolts down the hall in suppressive fire. Leanna bursts through the doors and I stay at her heels. The noise from the battle gradually fades away as we run deeper into the mansion. Eventually, the hall leads into a study. A carved wooden desk, laden with books and ledgers, is in the center with bookcases surrounding it. A man wearing a hooded dark robe sits at the desk. He scribbles something with one hand while the other hand is hidden within his robe. Whoa, hello. An older man sits on the other side of the desk. His graying hair sticks out in strange angles, and his embroidered clothes are slightly askew. What the heck were these guys? Did I interrupt something, He stares at the open ledgers on the desk, but his eyes are dull, as if they aren't really seeing it. The two guards stand by the doorway, as still as statues, with those same dull eyes. The treasurer rises to his feet.
Who let these two in? I explicitly said no visitors.
Leanna's manipulator pulses wildly, especially when she raises her arm towards him.
It's him! He's the source of the shadow magic!
Neither the mayor nor the guards react.
How dare you make such accusations? Arrest her immediately!
The guards ready their weapons. Stop! We aren't here to fight you.
It's no use! He's influencing them with shadow magic!
A gust of wind gathers around Leanna, violently whipping her hair and clothes. It concentrates in her gauntleted palm, and she hurls it at them. The wind knocks the guards against the walls and blows open the robe of the treasurer, exposing his hidden hand. Ah, yes. Within his palm is a dark crystal sphere. It looks like a marble of darkness and swirling smoke. From within the crystal are shadow tendrils which extend to the mayor and his two unconscious guards. Leanna's voice is flat when she speaks. I've never heard her sound so serious before.
A tainted spear, and the branding of void.
You have seen too much.
Bah! The treasurer raises the black sphere high and shadow energy shoots straight towards Leanna. She raises her hand and creates another ball of wind which she fires at the shadowy bolt. The shadow ball cuts through Leanna's magic like a knife through butter, and her wind scatters harmlessly into the room. Let's push her out of the way. Come on now. Leanna! I dash towards her and knock her out of the way. I take the full brunt of the shadow blast and I'm flung back against the wall. Agony sears my body. I grit through the pain and look at Leanna. It doesn't look like any of the magic hit her. She rushes over, her face a mix of bewilderment and concern. You got this. I muster up a smile. Go get him.
That was so reckless.
Reckless is my middle name. Fugal, Reckless, Razmataz. Leanna unsheathes her blade. A determined fire in her eyes, she faces the treasurer and raises her sword. Her manipulator glows with power which flows into her blade, encasing it in a similar glow. Magic particles swirl around as static sparks of energy lash out from her weapon. In an instant, she dashes towards the treasurer at an inhuman speed. He fires two shadow bolts, but Leanna uses her blade to cut through the air and shoots off two slices of energy which cut through the shadow magic.
What?
Ah! Ah! Leanna lunges and charges her blade towards the treasurer. Just before her sword would pierce him, the treasurer throws his tainted sphere to the ground. It shatters apart and the shadowy mist leaks out of the orb, enclosing the room in a dark fog. The thick fog clouds my vision so I can't see anything. As it slowly begins to fade, I make out Leanna watching her surroundings, but the treasurer is nowhere to be seen. When she doesn't see her enemy, The glow from her sword fades away. The mayor lets out a throaty groan. He rubs at his head, his eyes now looking groggy, like somebody who has just woken up.
What is...
Leanna sheathes her blade.
Take it easy. You were under the effects of shadow magic.
shadow magic?
He shakes his head as if to free his thoughts. He must be trying to shake off the lingering effects of the magic.
Is it finally over?
Leanna nods. The mayor takes a few more minutes to compose himself. When his eyes seem more focused, he sighs in relief.
You have my thanks.
Suddenly, the door barges open and Zack races in. Behind him is a wave of guards.
Stop him!
He's with us!
The mayor stands unsteadily on his feet but addresses the guards.
Leave them be! But they... I said leave them be!
They hesitate and shoot confused glances at each other, but ultimately follow the order and lower their weapons.
Took you guys long enough.
He looks at me.
What are you doing down there?
I groan as I rotate onto my back. Leanna offers me a hand, which I accept.
He took a shadow blast, aimed for me.
Zack blinks in surprise, but looks impressed.
Seems like you ended up being useful after all.
See? I aim to please, guys. Thanks. Leanna checks her manipulator, but it remains still.
The shadow magic is gone.
The mayor seems much more alert.
It was my treasurer, wasn't it?
Leanna nods. He sighs heavily and sits back down in his chair.
When he first arrived into town, I thought he would be like all the other travelers and go on his way. But he said he knew how to make this town even greater than what it is now. He had ideas on how we could become more than just a wayward stop. The first step was to increase taxes to build up our treasury.
He hangs his head in his hands.
All I wanted was to help the people here have better lives. But all I've done is cause them suffering.
You weren't in control of yourself.
But it was me who made all the rulings and enforced those tax laws.
Leanna shakes her head.
It wasn't you. That man had a tainted sphere, and he was using it to influence you.
The mayor leans back. He looks tired, as if a huge weight was dropped on him.
I don't deserve to continue as mayor of this town.
One of the guards steps forward.
That's not true.
I look over at the voice and recognize him as one of the guards formerly controlled by shadow magic.
I know what it's like when he used that magic. All I could think about was how I could become an honor guard. The thought was overwhelming and I'd do anything to achieve it. I know that wasn't the real you, Mayor.
The other formerly controlled guard steps forward and nods.
Me too. Little Garrett still plays with the toy sword you gave him for his birthday. Says he's practicing for when he joins the guard too.
The other guards in the room murmur their assent.
There's nobody who can run this town better than you.
Oh my gosh, guys. The mayor glances at the hopeful faces of his guard. In this small town, I can believe that he knows each of them by name. Finally, he gives them a weak
I
smile.
suppose somebody needs to clean up this mess.
He gets back to his feet and turns to us.
I don't know how to thank you for what you've done for us.
Well, you said something about a large treasury? Leanna smiles warmly.
I'm glad we were able to help.
Zack and I nod.
You must be exhausted. Please, feel free to stay at Raven Pass for as long as you like. You are always welcome here.
Oh,
Thank
thank
you.
you. The three of us leave the mayor to his business and head out of the mansion. Once outside, I glance up at the darkening sky. Leanna mirrors my movements.
We should rest up for the night.
Agreed.
I nod.
I saw the inn back towards the shops.
Zack leads the way. After turning down a side street, we see the lighted sign for the Hogshead Inn. I stifle a yawn as we head inside. Zack and I sit down at a table while Leanna speaks with the innkeeper. She returns with 2 room keys, looking a bit shocked. Wordlessly, she passes one to Zack. What's going on?
The innkeeper refused to let us pay for the rooms or food. Said it was by order of the mayor, and one he would happily oblige.
Aw, that was really nice of him. She nods. I mean, we did just kind of save the whole town, but, you know. I guess we can be shocked that we got any kind of reward at all. Another silence falls over us, but this one feels natural and not a bit uncomfortable. After a few minutes, the staff brings out 3 steaming bowls and places one in front of each of us. Once the bowl hits the table, Zack digs in with gusto and practically inhales his food. Leanna and I share a look before we grab our spoons. Ah, stew again? She nods.
It's hearty and filling.
Rabbit again?
Actually, this time it's venison.
Yeah. I take a bite. Better than... No way, this is even better! Leanna grins.
I like venison more.
Who wouldn't? I try not to wince every time I use my spoon. The fire has eased out of my body, but my shoulder still throbs from when I landed on the ground. Leanna glances at me, then gets up and walks back to the innkeeper. She returns with a compress in her hand. She offers it to me with a smile.
This should help with the pain.
I hold it against my shoulder and smile appreciatively as the pain slowly melts into a dull ache.
Thanks for helping me back there.
I smile. Anytime. I continue digging into my meal. So, what exactly makes shadow magic bad?
It's far more dangerous than any other elemental magic, and it's incredibly unstable and volatile. The most serious thought of shadow magic is how it's able to amplify the shadowy thoughts of someone's mind.
So the treasurer was manipulating what the mayor was already feeling? She nods.
He might have wanted to help the town by looking to expand, but there's also a bit of selfishness on his part for wanting to do that too. Either greed from more money coming in and more luxurious goods, or wanting more fame and recognition.
Everyone has thoughts like that. It's just a matter of keeping those thoughts in check.
Leanna nods.
Shadow magic, unfortunately, lets those desires loose in a destructive way.
Is there any way to block against it?
Unless you are a mage. Not really.
Leanna picks at her food.
Most people can't control the magic well, and it's very easy for it to backfire and cause more harm to the caster than the intended target.
That treasurer seemed to be handling it well. She looks even more
I
worried.
know. Which is even more troubling, considering the fact that shadow magic is outlawed in Havengard.
Zack pushes his now empty bowl away from him.
I think he's part of Void.
Leanna's frown deepens.
I think so too. I noticed the branding on his forearm.
What's Void?
They're practitioners of shadow magic.
Well,
They
obviously.
first rose to power during the struggle of the Three Kingdoms.
What?
Before the Treaty of Asaria. They wanted to grow their power in the outreach of shadow magic, and a lot of innocent people were killed in the process.
I might have to play a Romance of the Three Kingdoms game sometime, just so you all can learn just how cool the Three Kingdoms were back in the day. I'm talking about ancient Chinese history, but yeah, totally cool. The constant warfare going on. Yeah.
At the height of their power, they grew so powerful and were so destructive that the Three Kingdoms had to set aside their differences and band together.
That's when the treaty was formed. Part of the agreement was to outlaw shadow magic.
Are you really telling me it took 3 kingdoms to take down one cult? Was Lu Bu involved?
Shadow magic is a lot more powerful than any other elemental magic, which is why there are people who still want to practice it. It's impossible to stabilize the magic, so it's deemed too dangerous to be used.
Zack nods. I see. No wonder both Leanna and Zack seemed so grim when they first noticed the shadow magic. I stifle another yawn.
Is everyone done eating?
Zack and I both nod.
Then I suggest we head to bed.
I second that motion. I'm exhausted.
I know.
She grins and I can feel a rush of warmth to my face. I guess she saw my yawn. Zack leads the way upstairs, clutching one of the keys. We stop in front of 2 adjoining doors.
Well, good night then.
Good night. Zack nods. Leanna turns the key and lets herself into the room, then gently closes the door behind her. Zack also turns the key and lets himself into the second room. As I'm about to follow him in, the door slams shut. Very funny. I turn the handle, but it's locked. What the hell? Zack, let me in. He ignores me, so I pound on the door. Come on, let me in! He doesn't answer, but a couple of people poke their heads out of their rooms and glare at me. We'll try Leanna's room. This is ridiculous. I knock on Leanna's door. Leanna? She opens the door a crack, then pulls it open all the way when she recognizes me. Her brows are creased with worry.
Is something wrong?
Zach locked me out of the room. She blinks.
Really? Is that it?
And I need to get in there?
Alright, then get in there.
How? She
I'm
smirks.
sure you'll figure it out. Good
Aye.
night.
She closes the door. That didn't go as expected. Alright, let's be more quiet. Sorry, I gently knock on the door. Haha, very funny. You can open the door now, please. No answer. Try again. I continue hammering repeatedly on the door. I can keep this up all night. Suddenly the door swings open and I walk in. The first thing I notice are the two twin beds. Zach lounges on one and fixes his stony gaze on me. What the hell was that? Why didn't you let me in?
No space.
There are two beds. Zach wordlessly walks over to the other bed and pulls back the blankets. Tucked inside the bed are both of his dischargers. Not cool, man. Not cool. I go to remove the weapons.
What are you doing?
This is my bed.
But then where will they sleep?
I just look at him. Finally, he sighs and collects his dischargers. I lie back on the bed, and as soon as my head hits the pillow, I am asleep. I'm rudely awoken by boisterous yells. As I blink my eyes open, I see the pongo planted on Zach's face. What's going on? Zach leaps off the bed, continuing his scolding, and the pongo scurries under the pillow. I think you scared him.
Get out of there!
He snatches the pillow to reveal the pongo contentedly blobbing over his dischargers. The pongo's eyes are slitted shut and he wears a silly grin.
Don't even think about it!
Zach scoops up his dischargers and forcefully gives them a shake. The pongo's eyes snap open as he wobbles in the air, clinging for dear life. Zach doesn't cease his shaking, and somehow the pongo seems to be hanging on. His small body jiggles up and down until he finally bounces to the floor. He glares daggers at Zach, who is too busy inspecting his dischargers to notice. There's a sharp knock on the door. Barely comprehending what's going on, I shuffle to the door and open it a crack.
I heard yelling. Is everything
She cuts off mid-sentence and her eyes grow wide. I look behind me and I see Zach dangling his dischargers high in the air while the pongo leaps up to reach it.
These aren't for you to absorb!
I'll just wait for you guys downstairs.
Before I can answer, she turns around and walks away. I can't blame her for that. I close the door and start getting dressed. A long while later, I emerge from the room with the pongo sitting on my head. Zach has his dischargers back in their holsters and shoulders his pack. We head downstairs and meet Leanna, who is waiting at one of the tables.
Is everyone ready?
Yep.
Yeah. As long as that thing doesn't come near my dischargers again.
The pongo sticks out his tongue. Leanna speaks before the two of them can start again.
Alright, then let's hit the road.
All right. With one final nod, she leads the way out of the inn and back into town. The rest of the journey towards Illumia is peaceful yet uneventful. The pongo snoozes on my head for most of the way there. Leanna frequently sneaks a peek at him and smiles to herself. Zach keeps to himself and continues to be in the lead for fewest lines spoken. By midday, I can see the stone buildings of Illumia. We make it through the city gates without incident. Unlike the quaint houses of Meadow Hill Village, Illumia is built taller and grander. There's more noise as people fill the streets. Zach stares down a side street.
This is me.
I crane my neck and peer into an alcove.
It's a shortcut to the inn.
Leanna nods.
Safe travels. Hopefully our paths will cross again.
Good luck at the Mage Academy.
He heads into the alley. Do you think we'll see him again? She shrugs.
Mercenaries have a way of just popping up. Let's keep moving. The Mage Academy is straight ahead, closer to the center of town.
She points to a looming tower with a high steeple. As we get closer, I see that the tower is attached to a castle. Whoa, you studied here?
Yep.
It definitely looks prestigious. She notices my wonder.
What's your academy like?
The campus is a lot smaller. We don't have a big research facility either. But at least that means class sizes are a lot smaller too, so we can get more individualized attention from our professors. Leanna smiles fondly.
Only those with a natural talent for magic are accepted into the Mage Academy. I learned everything I know about casting from my mentor here. Hopefully he's here today.
Yes. We begin making our way down the grand streets of Illumia. Once we arrive at the academy, Leanna pushes right through the wrought iron gates and leads me across the expansive quad. Students pass by in flocks, chatting animatedly. Each of them wears nearly identical long cloaks, differing only in color. Alright guys, you know what? We made it to the Mage Academy. It's been roughly half an hour. I'm gonna call this one a video. Alright? This has been kind of fun. I think, I want to, leave us with something for the next video, and, properly introducing ourselves to all the mages at the Academy should be the ideal way. So I hope you've enjoyed this video, and I'll see you guys next time. Peace out.